Hello again, welcome back to Pontypool Golf Club, still in the Indoor Academy. I thought discussion today, which would be quite interesting, is using a hybrid, or a bit of a nickname, a rescue wood. And I tend to get a lot of requests about from amateur golfers about how to use one of these. Some golfers struggle in using one. What I will say is to most golfers is that these for me are magic wands in your golf bag. They really help cover your longer irons that are generally difficult to use, irons like your 3-iron, your 4-iron, your 5-iron, even up to 6-iron and so on. So it's definitely worth carrying one, if not two, rescue woods in your bag, or hybrids. And the reason it's called a hybrid, it's two clubs in one in theory. It's kind of half iron, half fairway wood, and it's designed in a way that's got a little bit more weight to the head. Centre of gravity is quite low, and you'll get a sort of conception of the length of the shaft being similar to your longer iron, maybe a fraction longer. So for me, a great substitute in those longer irons that a lot of golfers have trouble in using. I like to carry a rescue wood in my bag. I've got a particular 3-iron rescue wood that covers a 3-iron length. I find this distance of 200 yards around that area is good for me. It's also very useful for a number of other shots as well. Not only hitting off a long par 3, coming out of some semi-rough where the lie might not be so good, coming off the fairway, and it's also very good occasionally for playing little bump and run chips off around the edge of the green. So a very useful club to have in the bag. Covers a multitude of shots, so something to seriously think about. If you haven't got one in your bag, seriously come and have a chat with us. We can certainly recommend one and you can try one out. But when golfers do get them in the bag, a lot of club golfers don't know how to use it correctly. A lot of people, like I say, get confused of it being a fairway wood, and it's not a fairway wood. We want to be treating it more like an iron and how we approach the actual hit of the golf ball. So today's session is just to show you how to use a hybrid and get the best out of it. Okay, and we're going to imagine we're hitting this off the fairway today, and how we're going to go about doing that is basic setup and how we attack the golf ball. Now then, I've got a 3-iron equivalent. It's got a graphite shaft in it. I tend to find this very useful on, like I said earlier on, maybe long par 3s, or second shot into a very long par 4, or even just maybe to hit it straight off the tee where it might be quite a narrow fairway. They come in a multitude of lofts, like I said earlier on. This is a 3-iron. But where I find most club golfers go wrong is they try and almost kind of sweep the ball off the fairway with them. They're almost kind of trying to pick the ball off the ground. And what that opens golfers up to generally is hitting off this bottom part of the club and creating a quick top spinning miss-hit, low, sometimes a bit toppy, not a great shot. We want to be getting the golf balls higher on the face onto that sweet spot. And in order to do that, we have to treat it like an iron. We do have to have a descending blow onto the ball, not an upward blow. We're not trying to pick it off the ground. So many golfers I see with a hybrid tend to sort of want to pick it off the ground. They kind of lift their body slightly, and then they end up hitting the bottom of the club, or alternatively they'll lean back to try and help it up. And when they lean back, weight goes back, they're likely to hit ground before the golf ball. So how are we going to approach this is good ball position. Getting the ball in a good position to start with will help massively. And I think also then it's how we approach the attack on the ball. Let's get the setup right first of all. So ball position, if I just turn these sticks around, just to sort of show you, I'm just going to put them at right angles. Now if that was the middle of my stance, that's ideal for a mid-iron, you know, your 9-irons, your 8-irons. This is a longer iron in theory, so we want to position this a little bit more favourable towards our left foot. So if our driver, for example, is off our left inside heel, which would be there for a driver, I always say with the hybrid, we want to be about an inch and a half further back there in the stance. There we go. Now if it's going down to say a 5-iron hybrid or a 6-iron hybrid, I would get a little bit more closer to the central of my stance there to encourage the downward blow. So I would say with this hybrid I've got a 3-iron or a 4-iron hybrid, somewhere between the middle of my stance and the left inside part of my heel is roughly where I want to be with this hybrid, somewhere between the two. Okay, and that will help where the club will bottom out at the right place. And we want it to descend, remember, not onto the ball. We don't want it to come up on the golf ball. Okay, so let's just move those out of the way. You know, don't be frightened when you're practicing with the hybrid to use the bottom of the hybrid. Okay, we want the bottom of the club to have a collision with the grass there. We want it to feel like it's always kind of slightly deflecting or slightly bouncing off the surface. So a good little tip for you here is start off with some smaller swings and just feeling the club slightly bounce off the surface. You'll make a little bounce noise. There we go. Just trying to feel where that club is colliding with the ground. We don't want to necessarily go digging. We're just looking for that club to kind of deflect. That little bounce noise. And that will create on the golf course a little shallow divot, maybe a little bit of turf, but nothing severe. We don't want to be digging down, and at the same time we don't want to be hitting up on the ball. So your ball position is key. So ball just somewhere between the middle of my stance and my left inside heel. I'm happy with that. I'm going to have a practice swing. There's that deflection I'm trying to get. And I want to produce the same now with this shot. Focus on that nice deflection off the ground. There we go. Nice, good connection. One thing I'll promise you, you'll fall in love with a hybrid. It's a must-have in the bag. Please try one out. If you have got one and you're struggling with it, have a lesson with it. It will help massively in terms of your game and adding extra shot making skills as well. We might cover some other shots with a hybrid in the future, but that's just your general basic setup and how to attack the golf ball. Until next time, we look forward to seeing you. Please subscribe to our page. It's Leon Warne PGA Professional. Give us a thumbs up. Thank you.